gotta know that nothing lasts forever.
Alright, so I got it in. I think it's pretty good. I think that's pretty safe. 90% of it's in. Got the center section mounted up right here. The only issue is I don't have 4 of the proper drive shaft bolts to connect the main shaft to the differential. As you can see, I have these ones here that don't fit. Oh, getting a phone call. Alright, so as I was explaining, I only have 2 of these bolts that seat all the way into the drive shaft, and 2 that have like this bevel here, so it doesn't really go in all the way, and I don't have any threads on. So I need to find 2 more bolts like these, and then it should be good to mount up. Other than that, the drive shaft is in. I didn't film this earlier. I also got the rubber hoses mounted onto the fuel lines with some hose clamps. Those are ready to go. What else? I think that's pretty much it back here. Alright, so I actually got started on working on the power steering setup. I went ahead and tacked this up so that basically would mount in there. On regards to the welder, I just went ahead and I looked for some old flux core that I had. I mean, it's not going to create the nicest welds, but for me right now, I'm all about function instead of form. So I just needed to function, and just welding that without gas. And so far I've gotten this mocked up and kind of where I want it. Now I have I had this one piece that I chopped off. Basically this used to be one piece like so, and I went ahead and cut it, and I'm gonna be mounting this one somewhere around here. I don't know if you guys can see, it's kind of dark, and it should be perfect to have the reservoir mounted over here. As you can see, I also routed the hose over to this side, and see it, I'm just gonna have to chop that. That's the return line. That's perfect. And then the drain line would just run from the bottom side. I don't know if you can see it right there. run over to there. I think that's actually whoa, got caught on my pants. A really nice spot. Keeps everything all together. All the fluids are right next to each other. That way it's not right here on top of the intake, and it's kind of nasty. Yeah, so I'm just gonna get started on basically what I would do to whoa, I didn't realize I marked it all up right there. What I would do to know where I need to weld it and mark it is I'd put it there and set the reservoir how I want it, and then I would draw a line on it. Basically how I did it here. As you can see, my lines don't really line up too well, but that's the same concept. And then I tacked it on the other side, and boom. Once it's fully, exactly how I want it, then I'll just fully weld it. Got it welded up. I just threw some of this rust converter / protector of rust. Basically protects it from rust, and if it's slightly rusted or bare metal, it basically protects it from rusting. Put some of that on it. I mean, the welds aren't the nicest, but they'll work. I mean, you're not going to see them when it's mounted. But yeah, basically what's next is just to set it where I want it, and then make some holes, put some bolts and nuts through it, and then it'll be all set. I guess the next thing I could work on right now is the actual throttle cable. I need to extend it, let's say maybe like an inch, or not the cable, the actual mounting bracket. Yeah, I think I might do that. I had this little piece of solid steel that I had laying around. I went ahead and just welded it on the bottom of this to extend it, and it fits perfect. It might be a little ghetto. I need to still paint it so that it looks all one color and nice and clean, but it works perfect, solid, doesn't move. So that's how I'm gonna leave it. It leaves a little bit of a loose right there, so that's perfect. You want like a hair play for the throttle cable. Oh, looks like some buddies just got here. Sweet. But yeah, that's how you do it. Bam. Oh wow. Camera shows a lot of light right now, even though it's kind of dark out already. At least inside the shot. Outside, obviously, there's still sunlight. But I got this fabricated. I think I mentioned it earlier. And I found out this drain line that I received with my oil feed and drain line kit for the S13 JZ setup when I went single, fits on this reservoir. I didn't end up using this just because I couldn't use any of the AN lines. Right there's one of them that came with it, and it ended up being just a mess. I kind of regretted ordering it, but whatever, you learn, you live and you learn. So I got this line, and it actually fits up onto this pretty good. I think this side is the same. So I went ahead and chopped off some of the coating so that it could stretch a little easier, because I'm not going to be using the AN lines. And on this side, I taped it up, and it seems like it's held up pretty good. I can't seem to find my electrical tape, but this side just needs to be taped up, and then I believe it should be all set to mount in here, and I'll show you guys that next. Alright, so it's all mounted up now. Hooked it up there to the pump, and all of it's hooked up down there underneath. I don't know if you can tell. But yeah, next part would be filling the system, turning the steering wheel 10 to 15 times before we fire it up. And hopefully, I need to tighten this up better. Hopefully it should seal and power steering system will be done.